the game from Phillies Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet
July 22nd, 2020. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA, and Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. Chet, Major League Baseball is full steam ahead with the Phillies opening up Friday night against the Marlins in an empty Citizens Bank Park. The NBA is in the Orlando bubble, not without their own controversy. The NHL is moving forward just 11 days from the first puck drop. And the NFL seems to be a mess as teams are scheduled to report to training camp. Not much good out of all this, except I think we're going to have baseball in a couple nights.
Yeah, there are some issues for sure, Bill. And hey, you didn't even mention the fact that Carter Hart left a scrimmage early yesterday with some kind of injury, hopefully nothing serious. But on the bright side, we are getting closer to a return of all the major sports. And that includes, Phillies playing games that count in just a couple of days. So that is a good thing.
Yes, it is. And we've got a great guest tonight, and the PA voice of the Phils, Dan Baker, is going to be joining us. And it's going to be interesting to get Dan's take on doing his job in an empty stadium.
Well, Dan is here, Bill, so he's chomping at the bit, not necessarily to talk to us, but...
And ready for the season to finally start.
Thank you, Bill and Chet. Last year was a disappointment for me, health-wise. I missed a total of 14 games last year out of 81. I felt fortunate that I was able to do 67 with an oral and sinus infection that I was battling. But when I missed a game last year for the first time, that was the first time that I had missed a game since May of 2003 at Veterans Stadium. And I've been very proud of the fact that I have a very good attendance record for all the. Of course, I love doing it. Who wouldn't want to be there for every game? But I've done about 4,000 games since starting in '72, and up until last year, for the first 47 years, Bill and Chet, that I was lucky enough to do the public address announcing for the Phillies, I missed a total of 15 games over those 47 years, and last year. I missed 14 games. So I missed almost as many games last year in 1 year as I had the entire 47 years previously. And so I'm still battling this oral sinus infection, but thankfully I'm in the care of some very good doctors. And although I think the days of me having perfect attendance every year, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, with this health challenge. But what a privilege it is to announce Phillies baseball, first at Veterans Stadium and now at Citizens Bank Park.
Well, speaking of privileges, right off the bat, Dan, Bill and I want to thank you for the amazing introduction that you did for us about 15 months ago. And I don't know how well you were able to hear it, but we've been using it ever since. We love it. Sounds great, as we expected it would.
Thank you, Chet. It's an honor for me to do that.
Awesome. Hey, this is an unusual summer for all of us, but for you certainly. As you said, unlike the past 47, 48 years, you've been off essentially all year from your gig at the mic at the ballpark. How strange is it to not have had to go to the ballpark, 15, 16 times every month this summer?
Strange and disappointing. And not just for me, but for all of us, especially in these challenging times, Chet and Bill, in which we live today. You need a diversion. We've always needed diversions. You think of some of the crises that our ancestors had to go through. World War I, World War II, the Korean War. We've always look at the Depression. It's always helped people to have a diversion, like professional sports or something that can take their mind off some of the difficulties of everyday life. And I think with the coronavirus threat hanging over our head, and social injustice, coming to the forefront, these are really challenging times, and hopefully we're going to address these problems in the right way, and I think one of the things that can help reduce our anxiety and increase our fun along the way is college and professional sports, high school sports. I mean, when you don't have it, then you realize how much you miss it.
Hey, Dan, I know from being at enough games and hearing you for many years, you get excited about every game as well, and also the big events that take place with the Wall of Fame nights and things like that that really even up it more. What's it going to be like to be in an empty stadium, and first of all, where the fans and the piano aren't going and all the noise, and also not having a chance to do some of those special events that the Phils do every year?
Well, being at the ballpark, Bill and Chet, every night is a privilege. And I never forget for a moment how fortunate I am to be able to announce those games. And I'm a Phillies fan through and through. And I was born in 1946. First game I attended was in 1954 at Connie Mack Stadium with my dad. And went to many games with my brother at Connie Mack Stadium. In that infamous year of 1964, I probably went to, 20 or 30 home games, as a fan. And I just loved it, seeing that green grass and baseball. I was a pretty good athlete as a young man, and I enjoyed that very much. And my gosh, did I love Phillies baseball. And are you guys too young to remember Warriors basketball, the Philadelphia Warriors in the late 1940s and actually through 1962? It was 62, and Wilt scored his 100 points.
Yeah, I'm a little too young for that. Just a little.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I grew up a big Warriors fan, and of course a big Philadelphia Eagles fan, and a fan of all the Big Five schools and Drexel and even the Division IIs and IIIs. In fact, I played a couple of years of basketball at then Glassboro State. When I say I played a couple of years, I was on the JV team. I was captain of the JV as a sophomore, and I suited varsity as a sophomore. In my last 2 years, I actually got a job in the mailroom at Channel 48, the old WKBS TV Channel 48 at 3201 South 26th Street. And I got a lot of great experience there. That's where I met Stu Nahan. He was the play-by-play guy in the Rocky movies, and he was one of the Flyers' first announcers, if you remember, play-by-play announcers. And Stu did a lot of college football and basketball, and I worked with him, and he introduced me to a lot of NFL announcers, and I worked with them, as a spotter. It's just a joy to do the games, and growing up in Philadelphia, I've had a chance to get involved with a lot of sports. You were observing my Big Five banner here in my den at home, and of course I had the privilege of doing a radio play-by-play for Big Five basketball for 21 years, from 1977 through 1998, and then broadcast the Drexel Dragons for 12 years following, actually for about another 15 years following that through 2012. And once upon a time did play-by-play for Penn football and Temple football, and I did PA at many. I filled in for Dave Zinkoff at the Sixers. I filled in for Lou Nolan at the Flyers, and of course I did the Eagles for 29 years. And I felt that was a great privilege also.
Yeah, we've had Lou Nolan on here several times, and Matt Cord once. So we know a lot of those guys well. Hey, I want to ask you, with no fans in the stands for the games, Are you still going to have that enthusiasm in your voice, Dan, that we're so used to hearing when you're announcing, especially the hometown Phillies players? You're not going to mail in, are you, Dan?
Oh no, I'm never going to mail it in.
I know.
On the other hand, I'm not the type of announcer anyway, Chet and Bill, that screams and yells. I mean, I try to emote, and I think one of the things, being a big Philadelphia sports fan my whole life, I think I know when to emote and when not to emote. The public speaker who is not very polished, who comes off in a monotone level, is not a good speaker. But neither is the announcer, in my view, who screams all the time, almost to the point of you can't understand what he's saying. Because you mentioned Lou Nolan, you mentioned Matt Cord. One of the things that we're all aware of, and I think we all have a little showmanship in this, is we have a service to provide those fans, and we have information to provide. And if we're not saying the names in a way that they can understand them legibly, then we're doing a disservice. So I'm very cognizant of that. And Chet, getting to your question, with no fans in the stands this year, I still have an obligation to the players, the team, to announce the names correctly. Will I yell the names to the high heavens? Well, I don't know that I'll do it in a way that you might with a full house. But when the Phillies have a chance to score some runs, it'll be evident that they're playing at Citizens Bank Park. I promise you.
Hey Dan, one of our listeners or watchers is Andrew Bagley. Just sent a message and said, quote, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Citizens Bank Park in my best Dan Baker voice."
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
All right. Well, hey, Dan, talking about the Phils, it's kind of a new beginning, new manager, short season. It's going to be a sprint instead of a marathon. How do you like the chances? I know you follow them every day. How do you like the Phils' chances in this short season?
I like them. We're not getting a lot of encouragement from the national media. I don't think many of the national scribes see the Phillies as a playoff team this year, but I think they could be. I believe that Joe Girardi is going to make a huge difference. He did a great job in 10 years as the manager of the New York Yankees, and he did a great job in 1 year as the manager of the Marlins. Yeah. He's always had a certain command and knowledge, and I believe that he's going to bring all that experience here to Philadelphia. And I think he's going to have the respect of the player. He has it right off the bat. And, with his pedigree, they respect him. They know what he's accomplished. And, Brian Price, the pitching coach, we have a really good coaching staff. Not that we haven't had good managers and good coaches in the past, but, there has to be a combination of talent on the field, plus a manager and coaches who know how to get the best out of that talent.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Brian Price, for me, is going to be one of the key guys for the Phillies this year, because that's my main concern, that pitching staff. I'm a little concerned about the starters beyond Nola and Wheeler. I'm really concerned about the bullpen, so hopefully Brian Price will get the job done. What do you see about this pitching staff? Can they be a good staff?
Well, for years, we've all been hoping that Vince Velasquez could turn the corner. Certainly has an electric arm. But we also know that almost every inning, he throws 20 pitches.
Yes.
Usually, at the end of 5 innings, that's about it. But he's been mixing up his pitches a lot more in spring training this year and in summer camp. And I think there's the influence, Chet, of Brian Price, and Joe Girardi both. Zach Wheeler has a real live arm. and he's going to make a difference. Aaron Nola, he's one of the top starting pitchers in baseball, and he's proven that over the last several years. So I think Zach Eflin is a guy, who's on the come. And, Jake Arrieta, this is the third year of his 3-year contract. And, he certainly wants to continue playing after this year. So, he's got extra motivation, not only for the Phillies to do well, but, for him to get another contract. And, he had that operation and removed bone spurs at the end of last year. And, I think those 5 starters could do a good job. Unfortunately, Chet and Bill, we're in a very tough division.
Yeah.
The Marlins are a good young team, but they're probably the only team in the division that's not a threat to win the NL East. But certainly, the Braves, the Nationals, the Mets, and the Phillies all have a chance. And I think, and then the other part of it is, that those teams will comprise 40 of the 60-game schedule that the Phillies face. The other 20 will be from the American League East.
Yep.
And, when you're talking about 2 of the toughest divisions in baseball, the AL East and the NL East. So it's not going to be an easy schedule. But I think, the Phillies are going to hang in there. And I also don't think I heard Ben Davis say this on the telecast the other night, that he thought the NL East winner could 32 wins might be enough to win the NL East. And of course, Ben was referring to the keen competition within the division. And, if that's true, I would think the Phillies could be right in there to the end.
Yeah. Well, hey, over on the offensive side, now you've gotten to see a lot of stars over your time. What'd you think of the first impression of the first year of Bryce Harper? He sure seems like a Philly guy, says the right things, does the right things, and had a pretty good year.
35 and 114, Bill. I'll take that every year.
You bet. And a slow start.
Yeah. No, I think he's a leader, and I think he's going to keep pushing the front office to bring in the best players that we possibly can. And that's a move. To the best of my knowledge, who have performed for 50 years or more. So,
what'd you think of the first impression of the first year of Bryce Harper? He sure seems like a Philly guy, says the right things, does the right things, and had a pretty good year.
35 and 114, Bill. I'll take that every year.
You bet. And a slow start.
Yeah. No, I think he's a leader, and I think he's going to keep pushing the front office to bring in the best players that we possibly can. And that's a move that I think is going to pay a lot of dividends, over the course of the contract that Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies. He's a good player and brings a lot of enthusiasm, and I think you're going to see him hit for a better average. And those numbers, 35 and 114, Bill, which I said I'll take those every year. I could see him improving upon those numbers in some years.
Yeah. But the thing that surprised me, Dan, about Harper, that just having not seen him every night when he was with the Nationals, just only when we played him, is that he plays hard every single night. I think if there was a knock on him from visiting teams, it was, he's a bit of a hot dog, a bit of a showboat kind of guy. That's not what I saw. I saw a guy busting it every night.
And he played pretty good defense last year, Bill, in right field.
Very good.
Whereas Chet and the previous year in Washington, the metrics weren't so good. But there was no lack of effort in 2019 as the Phillies strength field.
Hey, Dan, it's only a 2-month season, but it's your 49th season behind the mic. How special will it be to come back next year for season number 50?
Well, it would be very special, Chet. Again, if I was only lucky enough to have 1 year, I would consider myself extremely privileged. I don't know historically how familiar you are with the seniority of some of the great PA announcers that have performed in Major League Baseball. But the two seniors are Pat Piper of the Chicago Cubs, who performed for 59 years, 1916 through 1974 at Wrigley Field, and Bob Shepard, who performed for 57 years, 1951 through 2007 at Yankee Stadium. They're the only two, to the best of my knowledge, who have performed for 50 years or more. So if my health holds out and the Phillies will have me, and I announce at least 2 more years, that would put me into some pretty select company with the 50 years of service as a Major League Baseball PA announcer.
Wow. Well, hey, Dan, that's awesome, by the way. I do want to ask you, because our listeners want to know. Everybody likes to hear that Mickey Morandini call, but what's the favorite name that you've ever called? Is it Morandini?
Well, Mickey is certainly one of them. Number 12, second baseman, Mickey Morandini. Bill and Chet, the names which give me the most enjoyment to say are the polysyllabic names, the multiple syllables. And the reason for that, of course, is that they lend themselves to a more melodic interpretation. One of my favorite names to say, and one of my favorite people over the years, now batting for the Phillies, number 53, right fielder Bobby Abreu. Now, even though his last name consists of only 5 letters, it has 3 syllables, so you can actually fun with that. I do a radio. I've done a radio show for the last 12 years on WBCB 1490 and ESPN 610 AM with my good friend, one of the greatest sluggers in Phillies history, the Bull. Number 19, left fielder Greg Luzinski. And Bill, either you or Chet alluded earlier to one of the great privileges that I have had since the unfortunate passing of the late, great Harry Kalas. And that is every year at the Wall of Fame ceremony, I have the distinct honor of introducing the previous members of the Phillies Wall of Fame. And, to have them come out, one at a time. And we always, of course, draw a big crowd, for Alumni Weekend, and particularly for Wall of Fame night. And, to introduce Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, Greg Luzinski, Tony Taylor, who just passed away, Dick Allen, Charlie Manuel, oh my gosh, the fans just go crazy. And, what a privilege it is, to announce those names and hear the fan response. It's just great. Bob Boone, Larry Bowa, before too long, it'll be Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Jimmy Rollins.
Good stuff, Dan. Oh, you just froze on us there, Dan. Come back, Dan. Come back. Dan, if you can hear me, I wanted to ask you something else. Regarding the radio show, the Bull Session shows, if I'm not mistaken, you're doing those again back before a live audience. Is that right?
I'm sorry, I only heard the last part of that.
Yes, the Bull Session shows. Are you back in front of a live audience yet?
No, Chet, we are not. We were supposed to do all of our shows. In fact, for the first time, thanks to Merle Reese and the great staff up at WBCB, the Hard Rock Cafe at 12th and Market was going to host all of our shows. I mean, we've been in the past at Chickies and Pete's, the Bluebell Inn,
Yes.
and at several Chickies and Pete's. We started out doing it on the Boulevard, years ago, but we've also done it at Drexel Hill and South Philadelphia, Egg Harbor. We've done it at a number of places and had a great deal of fun. And it's really nice. And you're referring to one of your fans and ours, Jane Fisher, whose grandfather or great uncle, Jimmy Wilson, was a Phillies catcher. In fact, I think he might have been the first Philly to appear in an All-Star game or something in 1933. But it's nice to meet the fans, and we miss that. We really miss that this year because we've got we've had some pretty good guests, and we usually have 2 or 3 dozen. That may not sound like a lot of people, but that's not bad. And one of the reasons that the different restaurants and sports bars are willing to sponsor us is that we'll bring a few people in and generate some excitement. And usually on a Monday night, that's not one of the busiest nights, so it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons, and we have a lot of fun with it. But because of the coronavirus threat and the social distancing measures in place, we haven't been able to do our shows live. Instead, I do it from my iPhone right here at home in West Deptford, New Jersey. Greg is usually on the phone and from his home in Bonita Springs, Florida, and then our guests, wherever they are. A couple of weeks ago we had Juan Samuel on from the Dominican Republic. You remember Ray Culp? Were you guys too young to remember?
Yeah, I remember Ray Culp,
yeah.
Pitcher. Yeah,
Ray Culp from Austin, Texas, and Bobby Abreu he's in Orlando, Florida now, and we had Pete Buchanan from Arizona, and we had Dale Unser from Arizona. We had Dick Allen from Wampum, PA, and
you got Dick Allen.
yeah, we had Dick. It's rare.
Wow.
Ray Culp doesn't do a lot of interviews.
Yeah, Dick Allen doesn't do many interviews. That's great.
Well, hey, Dan, I was going to ask you, you mentioned Dick Allen, and that's exactly what I was going to hit you with my final question. Before, obviously, you didn't work for the Phillies at the time, but you were a Phillies fan, and a lot of discussion about Dick Allen in the Hall of Fame, and hopefully this is the year. What's your remembrance of Dick Allen, and are you on the Dick Allen for the Hall of Fame train?
I sure am. Mark Carfagno heads up that committee, and Mark has worked so enthusiastically for so many years to try to bring attention to Dick's wonderful career. He just missed a couple of years ago in a vote by the Veterans Committee, missed by 1 vote getting into the Hall of Fame. But I did have the privilege of announcing Dick Allen in his second tour.
That's right, yeah. 74, 75, right? Yeah.
75 and 76.
Yeah.
And 74 and 75 are the Flyers Stanley Cups.
Right.
Yes, they were.
And so those are special years to us, and they're etched in my memory too. But the Dick Allen who came back in 75 and 76 was a batter still to be feared at the plate, but he was not the Dick Allen that I remember seeing, 64 through 69 at Connie Mack Stadium, when you didn't want to miss an at bat of his, because every Dick Allen at bat could end up with a home run over the Coke sign on top of the roof in left field. I mean, he just had tremendous power. He swung the largest bat in the big leagues, and the numbers that he put up over a 10-year period from like 64 through 74 matched anybody in that era. Willie Mays, Roberto Clemente, Hank Aaron, Willie McCovey, Orlando Cepeda. You look at Mickey Mantle, Harmon Killebrew.
Hey, Dan, so we can get you right back. I have one final question for you. Unfreeze, please, Dan. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, you froze a little bit there. I have one final question for you, though. This is pretty neat. Back in the spring, Topps put out an opening day series of cards, even though opening day didn't actually happen. and the series included a Dan Baker card. That's pretty cool. Nice little thrill, I would think.
Thank you. It really was. The picture that they used was provided by the Phillies, and that was at one of those Wall of Fame ceremonies. And I like to think I'm pretty stoic in that one, Chet. And most people who see me at the ballpark will, I think, observe a smile because I am so happy in that element.
Oh, yeah.
You me. And so that is a rare photo of me in this, very serious countenance. And so I might have chosen a different photo, but I'll tell you this, I'm very grateful for the honor. Bob Shepard, I believe, was the first PA announcer to be honored with his own baseball card by Topps. I think that occurred around 2005 or something like that. And this year, they were kind enough to include me, and they included the female PA announcer for the San Francisco Giants. And so, that I thank you for acknowledging that, and I'm very proud of that.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Well, Dan, I think we have about run out of time. We certainly appreciate you joining us. Nothing but the best of health, most importantly to you, and getting back to the ballpark on Friday, I'm sure is going to be great. But most importantly, stay healthy, and let's get that 50 years.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Chet.
All right, Dan. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, Chet, let's take a quick break and thank our sponsor, Allstate Insurance in Westchester. If you're looking for insurance in the tri-state area, we've got the spot for you. Allstate Insurance in Westchester.
Yes, we do, Bill. One of the best benefits of having an Allstate insurance policy is getting a local agent like Dave Lavoie, who is dedicated to you. Building that personal relationship means you can work with someone who knows you and understands your family's needs. Someone you can call when you have questions or need help. Dave is dedicated to protecting what's most important to you and your family. Call Dave today at Allstate in Westchester, Pennsylvania. That is 610-430-0700. Again, 610-430-0700. And Bill, I just want to say Merry Christmas in July.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Very nice. Christmas in July. Well, hey, Chet, let's talk a little hoops. Sixers have their final 17-player roster pretty well set. More than ever, everyone on the roster is going to be important, I think, this year because of the whole coronavirus situation. Guys could get sick. They could lose guys. Everybody's going to be important. What do you think about it, and do you like this roster? There's a lot of guys on the final 5, 6, 7 that you might not have heard of.
I do like the roster, actually, and I hope it doesn't come to, the fact that they would get down to the guys, 13th, 14th on the roster. I don't want to see them. I'm hoping that they stay pretty much COVID-free, and that's, so far, they're doing pretty well with that, the Sixers and the rest of the NBA, as far as the most recent testing. I really want to see them stick to an 8 or 9-man rotation, and as I said, never get to those 12, 13, 14 guys. And I also want to see Ben Simmons hit a few 12-foot jumpers. I would love that. I would be thrilled. I can't wait for basketball to come back.
Well, I think it's been big news out of camp. If there's anything, it's every night you get to see highlights of Ben throwing up threes, and he actually looks pretty darn smooth doing it.
He does. We've been down that road before, though. We've been teased by these videos that get leaked out there between games. Fans who go to the games, like our old buddy Freddie Burns, they see him shooting them before the game, but he's only made 2 in an actual game in his 3-year career. So he sounds like he might actually be willing to do it in games right now. He's kind of getting prodded by some teammates and even some of the other guys from other teams in the bubble. So I think we're going to see him, maybe not 3-pointers, but at least those 12 to 14-foot jumpers, and I would love to see it. I also want to see, what he's going to be doing in his new role, playing the power forward essentially. As we discussed previously, he's a quick guy, so he's going to be able to move in and out of there and get open, and hopefully, get hit with passes from Shake Milton or Josh Richardson, whoever has the ball, and get some points that way. So I'm excited to see this new lineup that Coach Brett Brown is trying out here as we move right into the final leg of the season and then the playoffs. Yeah,
it seems like things have been overall a little quiet, maybe because reporting's a little different being in the bubble, and you just don't have the access that you normally have. But Joel Embiid is not usually quiet, and he's been kind of quiet.
And that might be a good thing. Maybe that's because he's more focused than usual. I hope that is the case. And, he's in his limited interviews, he has said all the right things. He's confident that he and Ben can play together. It's going to be good. I saw Al Horford interview the other day. Al, kind of got a diminished role, but he said he's ready to go. Sometimes he's going to be on the court with Joel, and they're going to make it work. But I like it. And Shake Milton is another guy that, a lot of people like Shake because he does have some ability. He has shown that, and now he's going to have a more prominent role. So, Shake, show us what you got.
Well, I think if Shake comes out and plays well, and this whole adjustment works, they're going to be obviously going to be a much better team. I think if it all happens that way, like it's supposed to. And I think I said this a few weeks back. I think that the thing that's going to be most important for this team and any other team is who adapts the quickest, who gets out of the blocks fast, who plays well. There's no time to not play well. So what team gets it together, what team is focused, stays out of trouble off the court, stays in the bubble, doing the things they're supposed to do, and gets ready to play, because it's short. You better be on it.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing is nobody's going to have a home court advantage because everybody essentially is going to be playing on a neutral court. Sixers were so great at home, 29-2, subpar on the road. Well, now it's going to be a neutral court situation for everybody. And, there's a lot of games in a short amount of time. Fortunately, there was only one back-to-back for the Sixers, the way it's slated right now down the stretch. I'm excited. I'll be watching. And just in general, Bill, in August, we're going to have the Phillies playing almost every day. We're going to have the Sixers. We're going to have the Flyers. Eagles will be in training camp officially. And, boy, it's going to be a busy month of August and September.
Well, it is, but let's get to the bad news. We mentioned last week about the jersey slogans on many of the players will be wearing when the season restarts July 30th. And now they've unveiled their court art, if you will. Black Lives Matter up and down the basketball court. This isn't going to sit well with this fan and a lot of other fans. You being a little leaner, I won't go liberal, I'll go leaner. What do you make of this? You didn't much like the jersey move. How you like the court move?
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with it. I know a lot of people are upset about what the NBA is doing with the slogans and the court art, as you put it. And, with the NFL now reportedly allowing players to honor victims of racial violence or police brutality, but not able to honor, fallen policemen or whatever still. So, yeah, there's a lot of people upset. I see whenever you post it, you've got a lot of people agreeing with you, and I understand that. I'm not a huge fan of all that, believe it or not. Some people think because they kind of this liberal guy that I'm okay with all that. I'd rather not see all that. I got to be honest. I would rather not see it. But at the same time, I'm not going to get all pissed off about it either. You and the others can if you want. I'm just going to focus more on the games. Let everybody else bitch and moan about all that stuff. You can criticize me for that if you want. But I'm just going to focus on the games because I miss watching the games and watching these guys play at a high level. I think I know how you feel about it.
Well, baseball has joined this circus today, and they are now going to allow, I believe it's slogans or something, slogan patches on their uniforms. That doesn't make me happy either. And I guess the thing that bothers me, Chet, I really don't care what these guys do off the field and off the court, off the ice. Go do whatever you want. Makes no difference to me. But when I work all day and I come home, want to prop my feet up and have a nice tea and watch the ball game, I want to be able to relax and not have anybody else's personal agenda in my agenda.
I understand the way you feel, and I have a solution for you, Bill, because I've done this from experience. Drink more craft beer.
Is that what it is? Maybe that blueberry and pumpkin stuff or whatever it is you're doing?
I'm happy. I'm always happy. I don't let the small stuff upset me.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking more about that along the way. But in the meantime, Chet, how are things going over at the Irish Rover Station House? I saw they had dollar dogs on the menu last weekend.
Yeah, and coincidentally, today, Bill, Wednesday, is National Hot Dog Day. I kid you not. And I actually talked to our friend Christina over at the Irish Rover yesterday. We exchanged a few texts. They're hanging in there. She said it is kind of a challenge, with these new rules now, 25% indoor seating capacity. There is, though, the outdoor patio area. And they still have the great menu, which is good. But as you said, the $1 hot dogs, that is genius, because that way, they're covering their butts. People are getting some food and having the tasty beers, craft beers or whatever. And they are open now every day, Monday through Wednesday, 3 to 9 p.m., Thursday through Saturday, 1 p.m. to midnight, and then Sunday, 1 to 9. So check them out, give them some business, and all the other local establishments. The Irish Rover Station House is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne, and they're on Facebook and on the web at IrishRoverStationHouse.com. And hey, Bill, we have another rock and roll Hall of Famer celebrating a birthday today, and I believe he headlined your first concert. Yusuf, aka Cat Stevens, 72.
Peace train sounding louder. Ride on the peace train.
Like that Cat Stevens, Bill?
Yes, I do. 72 years old he is, huh?
He's 72, or I saw one site that said he's 73. So he's either 72 or 73 as of yesterday. It was actually his birthday on Tuesday.
Yep. Actually, I think I told you, or I know I told you somewhere around 1974, 75, first concert I ever went to at the Spectrum, Cat Stevens. And it was a great show.
That's why I chose Cat. There you go.
There you go. Hey, Chet, let's move on. Let's get back to the Phillies real quick. Get some predictions on the 60-game sprint. But before we get to the team totals, I'm going to put you to the task here with some individual predictions from you. And we're going to write this down because we're going to bring them back to haunt you later on, all right? You
I
up
got my
for it?
pen and paper. Let's go.
All right. Let's assume Aaron Nola, Jake Arrieta, and Zach Wheeler get 12 starts. That'd be every fifth day for 60 days, right? That might not happen to Wheeler with the baby situation and all that, but how many wins for each of the big three?
All right, I did think about this today. I'm going to say Nola is going to be good. Nola is going to go 7-3 with 2 no decisions. Write it down.
I am.
Zach Wheeler goes 4-4. That's all. Jake Arrieta goes 4-4, and that's if we're lucky. So
Wow.
15 wins from the big three right there. Hopefully one of the other guys like, Vinny, who teases us every year, or Eflin, or Pavetta. Hopefully at least one of those guys steps up. But I'm going to say 15 from the big three. Nola with 7. Wheeler gets 4 wins. Arrieta gets 4. And the bullpen's going to have to win a few games too. I'm asking a lot, I know, Bill, but what say you?
Well, I'm going to say that if you're only getting 15 wins out of the big three, you're not going to be very high on the total win list. That's for sure. I'm going to say they have to get 8, at least get 8 from Nola. I'm hoping for 5 from Arrieta. And I'm hoping for, well, if he gets all of his starts, I'm hoping for 6 from Wheeler.
That's really optimistic. And I think, not that I want to be right, but I think I'm going to be closer to being right than you on that one.
Well, I'm hoping you're wrong. All right, next one. Let's get to the offense. Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins, home runs and RBIs. Basically, they're going to play 37% of their games. So let's call it a third.
All right. Here's what I got. I have Bryce Harper, 14 homers, 42 RBI. And for Rhys Hoskins, I'm going to see a little rebound from him. I'm going to say, over the 60-game season, 11 home runs, 34 RBI. What do you say?
I said Harper 12 and 42 and Hoskins 10 and 35.
That is very close.
Yeah.
We did not compare notes.
All right. Final 2 questions. Who's going to lead the team in batting average and who will be the full-time DH?
Jay Bruce does most of the DHing, so that's not a problem. Jay Bruce will be the DH the majority of the games, I predict. Leading the Phillies in hitting this year, Gene Segura. He's going to hit 298.
You know, Gene Segura actually led the team in hitting last year.
Really?
By 1 point. By 1 point. Yes, he did. I'm gonna reach out and I'm gonna take a chance, and I'm gonna take it that Didi. That Didi's gonna be the guy. He's in a contract year. He needs to be good. He's in a bounce back. He's in the national. Well, it's not really the National League now. It's a mixed league. But I'm gonna go with Didi, and I'm gonna say Bruce for a while, and Alec Baum is gonna get his chance to come up and hit bombs in the big leagues.
What's Didi going to hit? What's his average?
Oh, I didn't think about that. I'll go 294.
Okay. All right.
294. All right. Let's get to the team predictions. We got 14 and 18 from Joey Sheeran last week. I think we both thought that was quite optimistic. What do you say?
Well, first of all, I love Joey Sheeran's optimism, but he might just be a little high. And when I say a little high, you can take that in multiple ways. Sorry, Joey. I believe the over-under for the Phils remains 31.5. And because it is a tough schedule, and there are so many questions with this pitching staff in particular, I'm going to go with a perfectly mediocre 30-30 season, no playoffs. Sorry.
30 and 30. Well, you were actually more optimistic than me, even with your beat-up top three. I'm going 28 and 32 because after they get through the first two pitchers, maybe the third, depending on Wheeler's deal, I'm not thinking there's much left. The bullpen is still probably not going to be very good. It hadn't been good in a long time. I'm hoping they can hit. I'm hoping they're going to hit, but who knows?
But you got 19 wins coming from their big three starters. So you only have 9 wins from the rest of the guys.
Yeah, it's because they stink, Chet.
28-32.
Vinny Velasquez. You know, I was going to, just for fun, I was going to throw one more question out at you. Well, I will, just for fun. August, what are we starting? The 27th? What's Friday's date?
Friday's the 24th.
24th. Okay. What date will Roman Quinn go on the DL? Does he make it to August 1st?
August 11th. Yeah, he's going to surprise us and make it to August 11th, Roman Quinn. I'm going to write that down. Roman Quinn, August 11th.
Oh, it'll be a good season if he makes it to August 11th. That'd be like almost 3 weeks.
Oh, gosh.
All right, let's jump over, Chet. Let's give a thanks to our friends at the PPCC 118 Raz Room. They post great sports memorabilia on their Facebook page so people can take a chance of winning something they may not be able to afford or have access to. All items come with certificates of authenticity. They've continued to run out great autographed memorabilia from all the Philly teams and more. They've changed some things up with very popular mystery boxes and Razes with just 11 lines. So your chances of winning are 1 in 11. Great odds. Check out their Facebook page. Like or follow it. It's PPCC 118 Raz Room. That's right. PPCC 118 Raz Room on Facebook.
And hey, Bill, another birthday I wanted to mention. The guy playing guitar on this one is turning 55 tomorrow, Thursday. His name is Saul Hudson. He's better known, though, as Slash. And you know, Bill, that album came out 33 years ago this week, so he was just 22 at the time. Talking, of course, about Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. And I should mention, had it not been for the damn pandemic, I would have been at MetLife Stadium last Saturday night seeing Guns N' Roses. Oh, well.
Oh, well. Hey, isn't Don Henley's birthday today also?
Don Henley is 73. I could have chose him also. Yes, a lot of birthdays today. Don is 73 today. He's, one of the founders of the Eagles, one of my favorite bands. So
absolutely.
Happy birthday, Don.
Hey, Chet, one last Philly thought before we get the season started here on Friday. Is JT Realmuto going to be signed? What are we waiting on?
I don't think he's going to be signed, this week. I think they're going to drag this out and hopefully get something done. I don't know if he's looking for, a better deal, if the Phillies are just dragging their heels. I don't know. I think he's going to be a Philly next year, though, but I don't think it's going to happen imminently.
Yeah, well, it's time for them to pony up. They better do it. They better do it quick. Hey, Chet, NFL scheduled to report to training camp. They're not ready. It's not working out. Looks like they're going to move towards 0 preseason games. They're moving toward no fans, it looks like. If there are fans, they're going to have masks on. They've come up with that today. And they still haven't gotten to the financial part of this where the owners are wanting the players to take some financial responsibility for the empty seats. They haven't even got to that part yet.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting couple of weeks for the NFL to work all that out. They did agree on a couple of things this week, like, regular testing and all that sort of stuff. And I guess, no preseason games is a definite now. And that's okay. I think we can all live with that. We want to keep the players safe. But, if they're going to have fans in the stands in, some of the cities and expect them to wear masks, good luck enforcing that. That's going to be interesting to see.
Well, Chet, if they're going to sell beer, how are they going to wear a mask?
We'll have to maybe poke a little hole in the mask for a straw for the beer. I don't know how they're going to pull that one off.
Yeah. And who's going to be the usher that's going to go down and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, fella, I know you've drank a 12-pack before you got in the stadium, but please put your mask on.
Yeah, well, that usher better be built like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, if he's going to try to enforce it.
Well, there's a lot to happen in the NFL, and there'll be a lot of news, I'm sure, between now and next Wednesday when we're back on. But, it's a bit of chaos, and I got a little close look with a little contact involved in an NFL camp, and it's not ready to go. There's a lot of open ends.
Yeah, so I think they're going to pull it off somehow, get the season started on time, and then hopefully the virus will accommodate and we'll get the whole season in. But they, as you said, they have a lot of work to do over the next couple of weeks.
Well, and, I think the other thing, too, that's important is they've come up with this helmet, mask, shield, motorcycle helmet looking thing that they want these guys to wear. And J.J. Watt, who carries a little weight, J.J. Watt says, I will not wear that or I will not play. That's not good for the NFL.
No, it isn't. So we'll see what happens. Roger Goodell and company, get to work. Let's go.
Yeah, they got a lot to do. All right, Chet. Hey, we modified, updated our Philly Pressbox Radio website. You can now watch this podcast. We have our Vimeos, current Philly sports articles, some other articles as well, and we have our YouTube channel up and running. And people seem to like that.
Yeah, I like it. The YouTube channel, I think, is pretty cool. So subscribe to us, please. We need more subscribers. We have all 14 of our shows on there now, the ones we've done via Zoom I'm talking about. And tonight's will get there, likely tomorrow. Plus lots of other fun stuff, including our recent segment in which we unveiled our 5 new PPR Hall of Fame inductees. You can watch, just that if you don't want to watch the whole show. And also my amazing 2.5-minute review from last week of my favorite new-to-me beers of 2020. You'll want to catch that and have a drink a beer while you watch it. Go to YouTube, subscribe to Philly Pressbox Radio, and don't forget, if you want to buy one of our fabulous T-shirts like I'm wearing, like Bill's wearing, just go to the website, phillypressboxradio.com. Get the details. We'll get you your shirt in a matter of days.
All right. Hey, Chet, I don't know if you can see it, but as we've been doing this, our sound has been great throughout. We've had some blips in our video because I'm in a lightning storm down here. I think you're in a lightning storm up there. So we've done the best we could, but the sound's been great, I believe. Just a little bit of flickering here and there. It's got worse as we went on. Early on, it wasn't quite so bad. But anyway, we apologize for that, but I think Mother Nature is in control of this one.
And we're without our regular producer again this week, Billy, but you got another Furman kid taking charge.
Yeah,
right?
Chris is taking over for us. He's sitting right here, and he's trying to make things run smoothly, and I think they have. In spite of me and you, Chet, things have gone pretty well.
Now, who had a birthday this week? Was it Chris?
It was Chris. His birthday was yesterday.
There you go. See, I'm right on top of the situation.
You betcha. Well, hey, Chet, Dan Baker, top of the line, first class act. Couldn't be better as a guest, but you got to do better or try or be equal. So who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
Oh, I do have something equally as good, maybe even better. Who knows? We shall see. It's something pretty cool, actually. Here's the lowdown, everybody. If you're a Philly sports fan, there is a good chance you listen to Glenn Macnow and Ray Didinger every week on weekend on WIP. And since the pandemic hit hard in mid-March, they have been doing a terrific feature called Tell Us Your Story with a lot of amazing guests. They've had George Foreman, Jay Wright, Bernie Perron, Aaron Nola, Jeremy Roenick, Merrill Reese, Dick Vermeil, and the list goes on and on, twice every weekend. Well, with Glenn and Ray's permission, we are borrowing that format for 2 very special hours. One of those is next week, because next week we are going to have Ray Didinger joining us, and our Diddy is going to be with us for an extended amount of time next week, talking about growing up as an Eagles fan, his decision to become a journalist, and his now 50 years covering the Eagles. So it's not just going to be Ray talking about this year's Eagles team. It's going to be about, young Ray. It's going to be about him meeting Tommy McDonald, deciding to go to Temple and be a sports guy. And then, of course, starting in 1970, one of the greatest Eagles reporters that the city has ever had. So we're going to get the Ray Didinger story next week. It is going to be fantastic, I promise you.
Well, it's a great format. Obviously, we've had Ray on a bunch of times. He's always great. It's a great format that him and Glenn do. They just had the other weekend had Billy White Shoes Johnson and Herschel Walker on back-to-back on a Saturday and Sunday. That was great. Two great shows.
Great job with that, and it's become like really, really popular. In fact, people have been begging them, "Hey, sports are coming back. You're going to keep doing this, though, right?" And they said, "Yes, we are," because it's been such a hit. And like I said, they're going to let us do it for 2 shows, one with Ray, and then one probably in about a month with Glenn. We can't wait.
Well, and I saw Glenn made a post. I think it was yesterday, talking about this show, and said that the ratings actually went up while sports was not being played. So, because they've done a great job with this, and looking forward to it. It'll certainly be great to have Glenn and Ray.
We got to wrap it up. We got 3 minutes. So, just one quick thing here, semi-parting shot. In addition to the passing of civil rights leader, longtime Congressman John Lewis last weekend, we also lost a couple of Philly athletes since our last show. Former Flyers tough guy Jack McElhargy, who had 2 stints with the team, later served as an assistant coach and scout. He died after a battle with cancer. And as Dan Baker alluded, we also said goodbye to a very popular longtime former Philly, Tony Taylor. He left us last Thursday, I believe it was, due to complications related to the stroke that he suffered last year. Tony played 15 of his 19 seasons with the Phillies, mostly at second base. He was a 2-time All-Star, 261 career hitter, a 2002 Phillies Wall of Fame inductee. But beyond that, he was one of the most popular Phils ever. One of those guys that everybody loved being around, just a great teammate. So rest in peace, Tony Taylor.
Absolutely. One other comment that I want to make, Chet, last weekend, got to go over to our friend Carl's Cards and Collectibles. Carl Henderson had their Customer Appreciation Day for their 25th anniversary. Bobby Shantz was there, 94 years young, oldest living MVP. What a great event. And Bobby Shantz, top of the line. Still, Chet, is sharper than me and you. Let's go with that.
Well, that's not saying a whole lot, but yeah, he's a good guy from what I understand. A couple of final things. Happy birthday to Sonny Hill today, the legendary Philly Sonny Hill, 84 years old. And Alex Trebek, longtime Jeopardy host, still battling pancreatic cancer, but doing remarkably well with it. He is 80 years old today. And finally, Bill, this is very important. This Sunday, I'm going to see you and our buddy Al from the Edge of Philly Sports and Joey Delco. But it's going to be with mixed emotions because it's also a very special day Sunday. It is the birthday of both Mick Jagger and Kate Beckinsale.
Oh, Kate making an appearance.
Drinking a craft beer in their honor.
There you go. All right. Well, with that, let's wrap this thing up. Let's thank tonight's special guest, Dan Baker. Our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Bob Sullivan's LakeYourAge.com, PPCC 118 Raz Room, and Dave Lavoie of Allstate Insurance in Westchester for their continued support of the show. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll join Philly Press Box Radio next Wednesday, July 29th at 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook or listen to our website, phillypressboxradio.com. phillypressboxradio.com, on blogtalkradio.com/Philly Pressbox Radio, on Google Podcasts, as well as Apple Podcasts and others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Stay safe out there.